US 401. Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about US Highway 401. As you can see here, US Highway 401 goes from Sumter, South Carolina, all the way up to the North Carolina-Virginia border at an intersection with Interstate 85. Let's get on to northbound US 401. So northbound US 401 starts here in Sumter, South Carolina at an intersection with Business Highway US 76. So from here, as you go north, the first major highway you're going to intersect is US 15. The reason I'm showing this is because later on in its run, US 401 is going to intersect US 15 again, and those highways are going to be concurrent for a while, but as of now, it just intersects US 15, still here in Sumter, South Carolina. After we get out of Sumter, a little ways after, we meet Interstate 20, which Interstate 20 East is signed for Florence, while Interstate 20 West is signed for Columbia. So a little bit after we meet Interstate 20, now we're meeting Interstate 52 outside of Darlington, South Carolina, and now US 52 and US 401 are going to be concurrent for a while. And then we finally pick up US 15. So now these three highways are going to be concurrent for a little bit, and then guess what happens? US 52 leaves to become its own highway, while US 15 and 401 continue north. US 15 and 401 cross into North Carolina, as you can see here, the North Carolina state line, and the Welcome to North Carolina sign. Let's see if North Carolina does well with the control cities on its US highways instead of major interstates. So the first major highway that we encounter on US 401 in North Carolina is US 74. So on Google Maps, this US 74 is signed as Interstate 74, so I included a picture of Interstate 74, but on Google Street View, it just has the US 74 by itself. Also, for a bonus, US 501 joins the party, so as we're going through Warrenburg, North Carolina, we're going to be concurrent with US 15 and 501. So in northern Laurinburg, US 15 and 501 leaves US 401 to go up to Sanford and Durham and points beyond that, while US 401 goes north to Fayetteville. So now here we are in the outskirts of Fayetteville. This is US 401 is meeting Interstate 295, where you can take 295 north to Fort Bragg, and 401 is north for Fayetteville because we're on the outskirts of Fayetteville and we haven't reached the city limits yet. Also, so this here is a pull-through sign in Fayette, this within the city limits of Fayetteville. So US 401 is going to be going bypassing downtown, while you can take US 401 business to downtown Fayetteville and to Interstate 95. So now we're now in northern Fayetteville, and we meet Interstate 295 again, which this time 295 is signed south for Fort Bragg, while US 401 north is signed for Lillington, and 295 north for some random reason does not get a control city. 20-30 miles north of Fayetteville, we enter the town of Lillington. So guess what happens in Lillington? US 401 is concurrent with three highways. Yes, three. It's concurrent with North Carolina Highway 27, US 421, and North Carolina Highway 210. This is gonna happen again. For US 401 is gonna be concurrent with at least two highways the next couple towns to pass through. So you drive through Lillington and then you come to this intersection here. This intersection is telling you that if you go straight, you're going to be on North Carolina Highway 210, which takes you all the way to Anger, and then if you take a left, you turn onto 401 North, which takes you to Raleigh, And if you turn right, you're going on the US 421 and North Carolina Highway 27, which takes you to Dunn and Wilmington respectively. So right after that intersection, there is a mileage sign for US 401, and on it so we have the town of Fuquay-Varina, 13 miles away, and Raleigh, 31 miles away. Also, Fuquay-Varina is the town I live in, and this is the reason why I chose to do this highway. It goes to the town that I live in, Fuquay. So once you drive 13 miles, welcome to Fuquay. And then after you drive through downtown Fuquay, the first highway that you encounter in Fuquay is North Carolina Highway 42. Fun fact, North Carolina Highway 42 can take you all the way to Asheboro where the zoo is. Though it might take longer, but it can still take you to the zoo. And Sanford. And then the next highway that you encounter, like further up the road, is North Carolina Highway 55. If you ever come to Fuquay, here's one tip. Since US 401 is the major artery through town, I would not recommend driving the stretch between where it meets North Carolina Highway 55 and where both 55 and 42 leaves. The reason at rush hour. The reason is because it's the only highway through town, and there's no other way to bypass this certain area, so it'd be like a traffic jam at rush hour. So I'd advise, if you want to come visit Fuquay, make sure to come here before rush hour so you don't get caught in that local traffic jam. So after that debacle, North Carolina Highway 42 and 55 leaves 401, while 401 goes north to Raleigh. On its way to Raleigh, we encounter the construction of future NC 540. And then before we get to Raleigh, this is in Garner, North Carolina. We meet US 70 and North Carolina Highway 50, which this is this intersection you take to get onto US 70 East, as we're going to be merging with US 70 West and North Carolina Highway 50 North. So after we merge with those two highways and drive up the road for a little bit, we're going to be hitting Interstate 40 and US 64. So I looked around on Google Maps to try to see if Interstate 40 has control cities that are signed on US 401, US 70, and North Carolina Highway 50. So I couldn't find any except for westbound 40. But I'm going to show that when we get southbound. So this is the intersection here, exit 298. And then a little bit after we meet Interstate 40, US 401, 70, and North Carolina Highway 50 travel through downtown Raleigh. And this is actually the picture from the title slide. So after we travel through downtown, US 70 and NC 50 are leaving to go to Durham, the airport, and Research Triangle Park, while 401 North is going to points north of Raleigh. Here, a little bit after that intersection, US 401 finally meets its parent route, US 1, and Interstate 440. So US 1 is leaving 440 to hop on to be concurrent with US 401. Or you can take 440 to get to either Interstate 87 or back to Interstate 40. So here, a little bit after US 1 joins 401, they split off. While US 1 goes to Wake Forest and Henderson, US 401 goes to Rollsville and Louisburg. But here's the problem with that. It's a Y intersection, so if you're coming south and you want to get on the US 1 North, then you have to take a side road like New Hope Road here to get back on the US 1 North. And if you want to because US 1 is merging into 401, so there's no way of getting onto US 1 North from US 401 South. So after US 1 and US 401 split, US 401 meets Interstate 540, and US 401 North is signed for Louisburg. And then after Louisburg and a couple of going through rural land, we finally meet back up with US 1 in Norlina, North Carolina, which is like a few miles southeast of its southern terminus. This is the northern terminus of US 401. As you can see here, that if you stay straight on where it meets Interstate 85, it just vanishes and US 1 just is by itself. Now we're going to be talking about southbound US 401. So we begin where we left off. This is Interstate 85, exit 233, and we have an exit, and the exit is for US 1 and US 401 South for Warrenton and Louisburg. So if you get off the exit, there's a assurance seal that tells you that you're back on US 401 South, and you're also concurrent with US 1 South. Because now you can see here there's a mileage sign for both US 1 and US 401. The US 1 is for Norlina and Henderson, while the US 401 is for Warrenton and Louisburg. So the one for US 401 is a little bit after the one for US 1 here, as you can see here. So this one is probably 1,500, 1,000 feet after 401. So here's that intersection where US 401 splits off of US 1, and we're going to be taking US 401 South. And then 20-30 miles later, we're meeting 540 again, and this time 401 is signed south for Raleigh. And then, like I said earlier, there's no direct way to get to US 1 North because it's a Y intersection, and US 1 is merging into 401, so you have to take an off-road to get to US 1 North. And then immediately after, we meet Interstate 440, and now US 401 is signed for downtown Raleigh for South. And then a little bit after that, US 70 and North Carolina Highway 50 rejoin US 401, making those three highways concurrent as you go through downtown Raleigh. As you can see, since Raleigh is a big city, it splits into two different roads as you go through downtown Raleigh, which I've been to, and there's a whole bunch of places that you can go to. I've been to the History Museum. I've also been to the Natural Science Museums and the State Capitol. If you ever visit Raleigh, then there's a whole bunch of places you can go to. So after we go through downtown Raleigh, we meet Interstate 40 again, and Interstate 40 West is signed for Cary and Durham, which is alright because Cary is a good secondary city. It also mentions the farmers market, which I do recommend if you ever come down into Raleigh. You should go to the farmers market, especially the building with all the shops, because one of the vendors, they sell the best yogurt pretzels, and every time I go to the farmers market, I always get their yogurt pretzels. So a little after we meet Interstate 40, 70 and 50 are splitting off of US 401. US 401 is going south towards Fuquay-Varina and Fayetteville. So right after that Y intersection, we have a mileage sign, which instead of Fuquay, we have Lillington, which is 28 miles away, and Fayetteville is 56. And we meet that 42-55 intersection. And then a little ways later, 55 leaves 42 and US 401. And then a little bit after that, North Carolina Highway 42 leaves 401, as 401 goes through downtown Fuquay, and just like I did with downtown Raleigh, I'm going to show downtown Fuquay, because I live here in Fuquay. So here in downtown Fuquay, you have so many shops that you can, and food places that you can visit. We have a pizzeria, a Mexican bar and grill, that is Stick Boy, a cafe, an electric charging station, a mason jar tavern, an antique store, a barber shop, you know, like a whole bunch of like what towns would have. I recommend coming to Fuquay. So once we get out of town and cross into Harnett County, this is the first mileage sign you see when you cross into Harnett County, which is Lillington 11 miles and Fayetteville 38. So we enter Lillington, or the outskirts of Lillington, and we're back at this big 421, 401, 27, and 210 interchange. And this time on an overhead sign, it tells you the places that each of the highways are going to. We're going to be taking a right. So after those highways leaves and after we're done going through Lillington, we have a mileage sign to tell us that we're out of Lillington in the next couple cities. Fayetteville is 27 miles away, and Laurinburg is 69. So down here in Fayetteville, we're now meeting Interstate 295 again. Like last time, it doesn't have any control cities from north. US 401 is south for Fayetteville, and 295 is south for Fort Bragg. Here we are in the southern end of Fayetteville, as now US 401 is signed south for Raeford, while Interstate 295 is signed north for Fort Bragg. And again, 295 south is not finished yet, but I think this is what the sign should be when it's finished. 295 south to Interstate 95 for Florence. Not any small town, even though I am from North Carolina, and I've been to Lumberton. Lumberton should not be on that sign. It should be Florence. So once we drive through Raeford and enter the outskirts of Warrenburg, we re-meet in US 15 and 501. And this is a reassurance seal when you meet US 15 and 501. And then we meet US 74 and Warrenburg again, and Interstate 74. And once we're past this debacle of an interchange, we're just left with US 15 and US 401 south. Welcome to South Carolina. And then a little ways into South Carolina, we meet US 52 again, and US 52 is rejoining the highway. But once, in a little while after, US 15 leaves to go off for its own highway, while 52 and 401 are concurrent until Darlington, in South Carolina. And then in the outskirts of Darlington, US 401 splits from US 52, as US 401 is going south towards Sumter. And then on our way to Sumter, we meet Interstate 20 again, which, like it said earlier, it's signed for Columbia and Florence. And then we're back in Sumter, and we're back at the intersection we started with. And look, there's a US 401 end sign. That's neat. That's nice that for South Carolina include a 401 end sign. So with that, we'll end US 401 and move on to the way it should be. So the DerpHog's the way it should be for US 401. For northbound, I'd start with Fayetteville right from the jump, because no one's heard of Darlington or Warrenburg, Darlington, South Carolina, or Warrenburg, North Carolina, or Raeford, North Carolina. So I'd just say Fayetteville from the jump. Then Lillington, because you have all the intersection with these different highways that take you to different parts of the state, because it's a major hub, and it meets a couple of highways again that takes you to other parts of the state. And then after Fuquay, or I'd co-sign Fuquay and Raleigh together, And then right after Raleigh, I'd say Wake Forest until US 1 goes towards Wake Forest. And then after that, it's just Petersburg and Richmond, because I'd say more traffic is angling towards that way. And people are going to be angling onto like 85 north instead of 85 south and going towards Petersburg and Richmond. And then for southbound we have, and then straight from there is Raleigh, and then Fuquay, and then cosine Fuquay, Lillington, and then after you pass through Fuquay, just Lillington again. The reason is because of all the major highways and stuff. And then and then down to Fayetteville. And then here's what I do. After Fayetteville, because US 401 meets Interstate 20, it'll be cosigned like Columbia, Florence, and Sumter. And then once you pass Interstate 20, it's just Sumter. And then after that, I'm guessing people are angling going towards like on 76 East to like Charleston. So that's why I chose Charleston. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to see more videos made by me, click on the either two card links that are shown on the screen. And please subscribe. It really helps out a lot. And remember, everyone's awesome.